Consecutive integer word problems. Find 3 consecutive integers such that the sum of the first, twice the second, and 3 times the third is negative 76. There's a lot going on in here. And we know that we have 3 consecutive integers. So x is going to be my first consecutive integer. I put CI just to abbreviate so we don't have to write out the words consecutive integer. If it's consecutive, that means it's the next one. So the next one has to be x plus 1. And then if I want the one after that, that's going to be x plus 2. So you need to set up your let statements with what are the ways that I'm going to get these 3 numbers. Now we need to interpret what it's saying. The sum, so I know I'm going to be adding, of the first, twice the second, and 3 times the third. The first, twice the second, and 3 times the third has to be negative 76. Okay, I put parentheses because anytime you're multiplying a number by an expression, we need to put parentheses so that we remember to distribute. Okay. So now I'm going to apply the distributive property in 2 places, and then I'm going to combine my leg terms. So x plus 2x plus 2 plus 3x plus 6 is equal to negative 76. If you need help practicing just solving equations with the distributive property, you can see one of the earlier videos from this unit. So now I need to combine my like terms. I've got an x and a 2x and a 3x that I'm going to put together. I've got a 2 and a 6 that I'm going to put together. So that gives me 6x plus 8 is equal to a negative 76. Okay, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides, and I'm going to have 6x equals. So now I have negative 76 minus 8 gives me a negative 84. I'm going to divide both sides by 6, and I'm going to get x equals negative 14. So now we need to find those 3 consecutive integers. Well, the first one is negative 14. Think about we're in negative land. So if I add 1 to negative 14, that brings me to negative 13. And if I add it again, that gives me a negative 12. So those are my 3 integers. Okay, you have to make sure that you're answering the question. So I like to check and I say, okay, well, the first is negative 14 plus twice the second plus 3 times the third, and that equals negative 76. So you know you got it correct. So it's always a great idea to check your answer at the end. All right, we look at the next one that says find 2 consecutive odd integers such that the sum of the smaller and 3 times the larger is 330. So I need 2 consecutive odd integers. X is always going to be my first consecutive odd integer, okay? COI, just to abbreviate. If I want to get to my next odd number, you have to add 2. Remember, to get from one odd number to the next odd number, you have to add 2. To get from one even number to the next even number, you also add 2. So that's what it's going to look like for both of them. Okay, that's equal to my second consecutive odd integer. Such that the sum means I need to add of the smaller, well, x is the smaller, and 3 times the larger is 330. I highly suggest when you do these, you read it through once, you set up your let statements, you read it through again, and as you're reading it, put the pieces together. Okay, so the sum of the smaller, which is x, plus 3 times the larger. Because the larger is an expression, x plus 2, I put parentheses so that I can distribute. Okay, so I've got x plus 3x plus 6 is equal to 330. So now I've got x plus 3x. Well, that's going to be 4x plus 6. Remember, we're combining our like terms. Equals 330. Okay, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. I get 4x equals 330 minus 6 is 324. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 324 divided by 4 is equal to 81. So x is 81, which means my next odd integer is 83. So those are your two answers. Okay, again, since it's saying odd, you make sure that your answer is odd. Since they're saying integer, you make sure your answer is a whole number. Okay, and I'm going to check such that the sum of the smaller plus 3 times the larger is 330, and we got it correct. Okay, we've got 2 more. Find 3 consecutive odd integers such that the sum of the first and third equals the sum of the second and 43. So I'm setting up 3 consecutive. So that means I'm going to have x, x plus 2, and x plus 4, right? It will be x is your first consecutive odd integer. I add 2 to get to my next odd integer, and then you're adding 2 again, which means you're really adding 4 to get to your last integer. Okay, such that the sum, so again, I'm adding, of the first and the third is equal to the sum, so once again, I'm doing the sum of the second, which is x plus 2, I just want to put that in a different color, the second, and 43. So can you see how I did that? The sum of the first and the third is equal to the sum of the second, which is x plus 2, and 43. Okay, so now I need to combine like terms, but I'm going to put my highlight symbol there to show that you can only combine like terms if they're on the same side of the equal sign. So I can combine my x's here. That's going to give me a 2x plus 4. And on the right side, I'm going to combine my constants, and that's going to give me x plus 45. And now we solve this like a multi-step equation. I want to move x to the left side. So I've got x plus 4 is equal to 45. I'm going to subtract 4, and I've got x equals 41. So again, make sure you go back and answer. They want all 3 of them. So I got 41, 43, 45. Those are my 3 consecutive odd integers. And we're going to check, is the sum of the first, which is 41 plus 45, equal to the sum of the second, which is 43, and another 43. And yes, they're both 86, so you know you got it correct. All right, last question says, find 4 consecutive even integers. Okay, so I'm going to just pause and I'm going to write them out. X is my first consecutive even integer. I know that because they're even, I have to skip every other. So I'm going to do 2, 4, and 6 because I need 4 of them. That's my second consecutive even integer. That's my third consecutive even integer. And that's my 4th consecutive even integer. Okay, such that 2 times the sum of the first and second is 14 more than 3 times the 4th. That's a lot. So let's kind of break that down. Backtrack. 2 times the sum of the first and second. Okay, well, the sum of the first and second is going to be x plus 2. Right? That's the first and the second. Let me put that in a different color so you can see what I'm talking about. X plus 2, right? That's the first and the second, but it's 2 times that whole sum. Okay? Is 14 more than, so that's a flip word, 3 times the 4th. Okay, well, 3 times the 4th is going to be 3 times x plus 6. And then it's 14 more than that. Okay, so do you see how it is complex? But if you break it down, you will be great. So we do need to distribute and combine like terms. I am going to combine like terms a little bit first here, and I'm going to put 2x plus 2, and then I will do my distributive property all at the same time. So I've got a 4x plus 4 is equal to 3x plus 18 plus 14. All I did there was the distributive property. Okay, and now I'm going to combine my like terms. And I've got 4x plus 4 is equal to 3x plus 32. Okay, if you're not sure, just add 18 and 14 and you get 32. And I want to move my 3x to the left. So I have x plus 4 equals 32. And my last step, minus 4, you get x is equal to 28. So again, it's an integer, yay, it's even, so I'm on the right track. And now I need to write all 4 of those numbers, so it's gonna be 28. The next even number is 30, then 32, then 34. So those are my 4 numbers, okay? So little tricks to help you make sure you're answering these correctly. And definitely let me know if you have any more questions.